Uh-huh. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. What's going on, world? There it is, man. We back at it. This is part two. You know what I'm saying? I put the call in. It's funny. I put the call in. Nobody picked up. You know what I'm saying? So you know who it is. You know who you are. If I put the call in and you ain't pick up, that's on you. That means I'm gonna just get back to work. Because the thing is, I always try to balance shit out, man. I always try to, some motherfuckers got mad at me because I was sitting there spending so much time by myself doing my own thing. And I really don't care because the thing is, if I put the call out and people ain't available, they're just not available. And the thing is, if I am available and you're asking for more of my availability, I was like, no, it's time for me to go home. I don't be wasting my time on a lot of bullshit. But check this out, man. We are on TTH 233, if I remember correctly. TTH 233. TTH 233. I want to see if that shit translates. That's as good as I'll get it. I mean, the thing about it is the camera angle, also how I'm trying to tilt it differently. Sometimes it's glare up here, sometimes it's here. I'm trying to find a middle ground to write the numbers at. But the TTH 223, that is the truancy hour. 223, always go to the, if it helps, I would say always go to the description. It'll just say the Truancy Hour episode 233. It'll have the specific name of the podcast and the, saying the number and all that, man. But yeah, your boy had to pull out the suit. I was like, I said this shit last week when I had the green suit. I had the green suit. I was grinched out, what I'm saying? I had that shit looking like moss green, fucking evergreen trees and shit. And I put the red shirt underneath on the Sunday when I went to the Beyblade meetup. So shout out to the Beyblade group, Seattle dudes, you know what I'm saying, all that. But we rocking the Navy today, man. Got the Navy blue joint. I might even use the fucking internet and check out some other suits in a second. Like I said, we might be running on I don't even know what the word is, dog. Like I might be running on borrowed time, if you will. I think we're always on borrowed time, but the point I'm trying to make is like, what the fuck am I trying to say, dog? Like, I don't know how long I'll have the space, so I have to utilize it to the best of my degree, best of my ability, So next week, rain, sleet, shine, snow, whatever the fuck, I'm gonna come through here in my third suit. I got 3 suits, so I'm gonna try to knock out each suit for each recording on the weekends, man. And I also don't think that I also don't think. Well, hold on, let me think about that. Let me think about that shit for a second, man. Let me look at the windows too and see what's going on. I ain't got time to be thinking about all this bullshit. This is some bullshit, logistical shit. Nobody cares about this shit. Listen, man, we are here. The Truancy Hour 233, man. Fuck this shit. But I'm like, I'm just all I'm trying to say is I don't know how much time I'll have in this space. So every time I'm in this space, I utilize the time as much as possible. I'm treating this thing like it's you know what I'm saying? Let me start right here, all right? Because I always like opening up with university mindset. I always like to open up university mindset, starting within. You know what I mean? I reverse the order of how I explain things. But let me just start from the beginning, man. University mindset to me is very simple. Very, very simple. Because a lot of people will sit there and go to colleges, community colleges, universities, vocational institutes, technical colleges, culinary schools, art schools, you name it. People will go to school after finishing school. They'll get access to university and spaces and places like this, just like this. And when I'm here personally, when I'm here, I get a sense of, here, let me adjust the mic. I get a sense of, what do you call this? Peace and wisdom, peace, wisdom, and quiet, where I can sit there and really think to myself, think my own thoughts quietly, slowly, and really just cultivate them and really just think about them a little bit. Sometimes things make sense a lot more in my brain than when I'm saying them out loud, because I'll be saying something out loud 1 second and then I'm thinking about the next thing really quick, and it's almost like it's hard for me to really grasp all of them in a linear order and then put them out in a timely manner, if that makes sense. So I'm thinking real fast sometimes. I'm thinking very excessively sometimes, and it's hard for me to get the words out in correct succession in order to make it sound very precise. So you're going to hear me all over the place. But university mindset, man, when I'm here, I get access to all this, and it's a level of knowledge and peace and wisdom here, and quiet, if you will, at times. And you get access to these rooms, man. You get access to the conference rooms. You get access to the study rooms. And these are just open spaces that nobody's utilizing. Nobody's in here sometimes. It's just spaces that are available. When you own that's the thing. When you have a building, You have spaces that are available at any time if the schedules permit and if people are working those specific days. And security is around those days to actually, um, monitor the situations and shit. And security people, they see me, they don't care. Some of them actually know me, but for the most part, they don't care. Excuse me, had to get that one out because your boy had to get that turkey sandwich in the morning with that Americano. Turkey sandwich with the Americano. Had to get those in the morning. I might have to stop by and see my little I'm gonna see my little white ladies that work at the other coffee joint. I'm gonna have to drop in on them tomorrow because I didn't get a chance to go over there because they ain't got no breakfast sandwiches. They be having like sweets and shit. I ain't trying to eat no sweet shit. Matter of fact, I think they do have some breakfast shit. I just ain't trying to pay for nothing because I be trying to get shit to go. So let me get my food to go and get the fuck out and eat. But then at the same time, I'm like, let me just eat it right here and drink my coffee and then go about my day. So I don't know. I'm just thinking a lot of shit. I can't even think straight right now. Hold on, what am I trying to say? University mindset, man. A lot of people get access to these places. A lot of people go to those places, and you got to understand, a lot of people go to the universities, colleges, and things of that such, school after school, basically, because they're trying to certify themselves. They're trying to get degrees. They're trying to get certifications and degrees. More importantly, they're trying to get a job that's going to validate themselves, maybe even possibly validate their existence. They're trying to get a wage that places a higher value on themselves, that makes them a more reliable person, which is fair. Being reliable is different than being a valuable person because we're all valuable in our own ways. And you got to finally find that value within yourself. You understand? Some people, unfortunately, they exist for comic relief, but there's also a lot of potential. I want people to start tapping into more of the potential of oneself. And a lot of that is really seeking and looking deeper into oneself. Very simply, looking deeper into oneself. Just look deeper into oneself. Yourself. Look deeper into yourself, understand? Because if I say oneself, you might be looking into one particular famous person. And I'm saying, fuck them famous people. Fuck me too. Pause. You understand? Fuck them, man. Because at the end of the day, you yourself understand the degrees of things in your life that you have withstood, handled, and survived. You also understand the degree of things, if not a threshold of things, that you draw the line at. The buck stops right there. You know that. There's certain things that you won't no longer tolerate. Like, I'm not tolerating this bullshit. It ends right there. It stops right there. So you understand the degrees of things in your life that up to this point, looking back, you've survived. Whether you still, focus on that, ruminate on that, dwell on that, whether you're still in that mode or you're able to look at it and be like, man, I've observed this enough. I don't fucking tolerate that shit anymore. Fuck that. You see what I'm trying to say? You understand it better than anyone else because it's your life. You've lived it. You've lived it in your body. Your soul has experienced it. It's witnessed it. You know that. And therefore, you can now just certify yourself as a human being, certify your soul's existence, certify your human existence into receiving, if not deserving, love and respect. Love, respect, peace, all those things, man. And just a gentle reminder that you have to do it for yourself. It's not easy for some of us, but you have to do it for yourself. Once you start putting a level of love and respect into yourself, loving yourself is learning when to walk away sometimes. Loving yourself is just simply taking care of yourself, your diet, or just making sure you stay out the rain, making sure you stay indoors today. You know what I'm saying? Stay indoors today, man. The only reason you'd have to go outside is to buy some soap and some toothpaste. I need to do that right now, actually. I need to go get me some soap and toothpaste. I might do that shit tomorrow. I ain't gonna lie. My soap supply getting low. That soap getting low right there. You did? Respecting yourself is simply just whether you're dressing nice, you're grooming yourself, you're treating yourself. Respecting yourself is just giving yourself the self-respect. So like, hey, man, let me listen and hear myself out without judging myself. Sometimes we'll judge ourselves like, damn, I'm still doing this. I'm still worried about that. I'm still bitching. You'll talk to yourself a certain way. Respecting yourself is just talking to yourself a little differently. Talking to yourself the way that you would talk to an elderly person or a child that you would be helping. You would talk to them very slowly and help them out. It's like treating yourself that same way. Tapping into the inner child of yourself and just realizing, man, I need to talk to myself the same way I deserve to have been talked my whole life growing up. Some of us have dealt with a level of self-talk that's very strict and tough and, you know what I mean, stay on top of your shit, get better, be better, that kind of conversation, that kind of talking, that kind of, demeanor, vernacular, if you will. You don't always have to do that. You know what I mean? You can recognize that you'll have a leniency, if not a kindness to people that are less powerful than you, or just like, less physically powerful than you is what I'm trying to say. And you'll be kind to them, and you should start talking to yourself the same way. Start nurturing the future elder in yourself, if not the inner child of yourself. You understand? University mindset is understanding that you don't need to have access to university and spaces and places like this. You don't need to have access to conference rooms. You don't need to have access to quiet. You have access to your own personal information, your own, for some people, your own Akashic records. That's a whole other conversation. But you have access to your own experiences. You can analyze it. You can sit there and dwell on it in the best way or the worst way. But why do the worst way when you can look at it the best way and start realizing where you need to start stopping things from happening and start exercising a level of love and self-respect for yourself? Hear me out, man. That's all I'm trying to say is like, you don't have to be here. You understand? I'm deciding to be here, utilizing the peace and wisdom here, and instead of just dealing with it by myself and just self-improving myself, I'm doing those things. I'm self-improving myself, but I'm multitasking. I'm streaming in the background, got the games playing in the background, got the plastic duck simulator going in the background, getting those views in, right? As much as I'm recording right here, getting this in to put this out into the future, as much as I'm also documenting this because someone else might need to hear it. You understand? So I'm doing my little self-help here for myself, self-study here, peace and quiet here, letting the soul rest here, on my day off here. And I'm also just taking the time to still do the work and put it out here into the universe for you, because this comes very naturally to me to just speak. Playing video games is very natural for the most people. It's time to document it. It's time to record it. It's time to live stream it, right? A lot of things come very natural to you. It's time to do certain things that you can either get yourself monetized or you put it out there into the universe so other people can enjoy. Other people want to see the plastic ducks. Other people want to see the RPGs being played, or the fact that there's people out there who enjoy the game. Even the game developers would love to know that you enjoy the game and you documented it as well. This is my interpretation of the way I would play with my characters. Pause. So there it is, man. That's the university mindset. I love to open it up with that all the time. We're going to try to do that for about 52 episodes of university mindset. Just kind of let people know, remind them once a week that the university mindset is tapping into yourself and really exploring your personal humaneness, your soul, if you will. Less about spiritual talk. It's less about physical talk. It's more about you. Start talking with yourself in a very kind way and respectful way. Start there and really start to explore things. It'll save, you could save some money on therapy when you start tapping into yourself a little bit. Check this out, man. We're doing another variety pack. I had 3 topics and I was like, I can't imagine myself harping on this for 50 minutes, but I can imagine me harping on 3 of those subjects within a 50 minute time period. Because I like to spend the good first 5. What are we at? 12 minutes right here? 12-ish, 12, 13-ish. We're at that point. And yeah. So what, we got like 30, 40 minutes to discuss some of these topics. This is another variety pack. I hit you with that variety pack 2.0. Variety pack 2.0, man. Just kind of 3 topics that I had written out. They were probably either part of an older, some of these topics are probably part of an older episode that I did in the form of audio, like a long time ago type shit. And then now here we are with this, you know what I mean? But let's see, man. Let's see how we get in with this, man. The Truancy, TTH233. I just thought about somebody, man. I thought about a couple people in my life, and I hope my intuition is wrong about them. You understand? I hope my intuition is wrong about them. But I see where the evil is at. I see where the evil lies. All I wrote right here for the first one was learning to not blame things in my past that held me back. Learning to not blame things in my past that held me back. So there's certain things that are out of your control, out of your power. You might have been a powerless child. You might have been someone who wasn't able to go to work when, people got, that's the other thing that I think about all the time was like, I'm surprised and I'm very happy that people kept me away from the drug dealing when I was a kid. When I was like a preteen, teenager, people kept me away from that shit. They're like, you don't need to be doing this. And the thing about it was I wanted to get close to it. I wanted to be around it. I wanted to be around the robberies. I wanted to be around the money making, because it was like in my household, man, nothing was going good. It's like there's some days we would skip meals, or I would skip meals so someone else could eat. You know what I mean? I'd be going through that shit. I felt powerless. And like, I remember those days I was like, fuck that. I'm walking over, because I had no bus fare. I would just walk from my house over to McDonald's on Madison, which took me about 20, 30 minutes. I'd walk over there. I don't know, like, how many blocks is that? 12 to 14 blocks-ish? 12 to 14 blocks. I don't know if I'm doing the math right there. And ask for an application. They're like, man, you're not even 14 or 16. We can't even hire you. 14 is like cutting it close, but 12, I don't know. We might be able to give you a job, maybe not. And then like 16, that's like when they really start hiring you. And I was like, you think I got time to wait 4 years to make some money? I want to make some money right now. You know, I want to make some money right now. So there's certain things that were out of my control, but it's just like, let's say certain bad things would have happened in between that time period, you know? Certain bad things happen within that time period. Certain bad things, you know, keep going, what do you call this? Yeah, certain bad things. I don't know. Like I would just try to avoid it. I was like, nah, I'm not dealing with that. Or sorry, there's certain things where I'm like, I'm not dealing with this negative thing, knowing that in my household we're just dealing with a certain level of I don't want to say poverty, but you know, things like that. Because things could have been better. We had shit. I'm not gonna act like we didn't have shit. We had shit. We'd have food here and there, but like we lived next to a food bank, so we would just go to the food bank. You know, like we had shit around us, but it's just like the fact that like you have to wait for certain days. Yeah, like I said, there's certain things out of my power, out of my control during that time period. Here I am as an adult, just thinking like there's so much more I can do. I can always get hired. I can always get a specific kind of job. Like there's certain jobs that are always hiring that people don't want to do, but you can take them jobs and make the money. You can take them jobs and make the money. You can always take the jobs and make the money. You know? So take the job, make the money if you can. But again, I remember like being in that time period where there's certain things, whether I was a little kid, there's certain things I couldn't control. I wasn't big and strong enough to defend myself against certain people, whether it was people in my household attacking me, whatever. Whether it was the fact that I was too young to get a job, so I couldn't work yet. Whether it was the fact that, you know, I was being pressured to damn near be a drug dealer, if not someone who was robbing people's houses to make some money to feed some people. But I was like, listen, we're going to find a way to get through this shit. And I look back and I was like, honestly, sometimes there is some days where I wish I had caved in and just really did those things, because I would have been a little bit ahead of the curve, you know? I won't say no names, but, you know, I know a couple of people that are living pretty decent because they put the work in early. They put the street work in early. They made shit happen. They made the money and they made sure certain things were situated. A couple $1,000s were put away at a time, man, you know? Shout out to them dudes, man. They know who they are. There's a couple teenagers out here, man. They were like thousandaires out here. Teenage thousandaires. I say that shit all the time, man. People used to be trafficking shit up and down. They would spend that money because they ain't had no, you know what I mean? Whether they're at their parents' house or they're like all kicking it at the homie's house. They're under the same roof somewhere living with somebody else, like an OG or something. They'd be over here making thousands at a time. And all they do is spend that money on like shoes. You know, some motherfuckers got the same shoe size. Like, then we all rock 10s. We all rock 10 and a half. You rock 12s. People motherfuckers be sharing shoes in the same house. They're all from the same set, all that shit. Shout out to them thousandaires. They know who they are. Some people had the money, they lost it. They made the money, they lost it. You understand? They had the money, they lost it. They spent the money, they lost it. They made it, it went away. There's some days I look back like I wish I could have been running with them, been like them. And a lot of them people are still my friends, but like a lot of people will tell you too, like, hey man, they look back at that time period and realize how much they fucked up, but they also look back at that time period and realize how negative it was for them, the type of person they had to be to make that money. You understand? They always say the grass is greener on the other side, man. You start talking to people a little more, you start realizing like, damn, I wish I was a little more like you. I wish I was blah, 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 blah. I have people talk to me that way. They're like, I wish I was like you. I wish I had confidence. I was like, listen, man, I don't got no confidence. I'm just very reckless. I just go through life like, fuck it. We got to go forward. I don't care what's happening. We just have to go forward. I'm fucking up in this conversation. I'm still having the conversation. You understand? It's that simple for me. People are like, I wish I was like you. I was like, no, you don't want to, because you'd have to go through the shit I went through to be who I am. You'd also have to have the self-discipline to put yourself through things in order to get better or just be better. And it's not easy. I don't recommend it. So like I said, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So when you have regret, if not you're blaming yourself for things in the past that you had no control over, blaming things in your past that held you back, it's like, listen, you're still here though, right? You're still here though, right? I used to work with a dude, man. He was in his 40s. He was like in his early 40s. And I was talking to him about investing. I was talking to him about like, just find something outside of work, because like you're putting all your energy into figuring out why work doesn't work for you. You're getting so upset about certain things. You're blaming people for your work experience right now. I was like, yeah, but you have the power to just fucking leave. You have the power to just go. You don't have to be around this. The job you choose is your choice. The job you hate is your choice to get hired there. You didn't have to agree to that shit. You understand? A lot of people's jobs and choices that working right now, it's like, yeah, you're choosing that job. That's why when they try to say like job is equivalent to slavery, I was like, no, it's not, because slavery was just like a thing that was like, yeah, you're forced to do this, or you just die, or we'll leave you out to the wilderness with some fucking animals or some shit. We just fucking kill you at this point if you don't want to do this. Like, you'll just die then. We won't feed you. Fuck that. At least with jobs, you're going out there getting hired. You're choosing a job that you want to get hired at. I've gotten interviews that I didn't go to because I was like, man, I had a better offer. If not, I already had a job, or I just decided like, you know what, man, let me just stick to my guns and try to go for this other job. I had choices. People will blame themselves all the fucking time for spending years at a job, and I'm like, yeah, but you got paid and you stayed. But it's like, bro, you could go and get out. My guy was in his 40s. He was talking to me. He was just beating himself up about like, yeah, I'm starting to figure shit out now in my 40s, man. It took me this long. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that because you're doing something, but you're constantly worrying about who's pointing you out and who's making you feel bad here, right or wrong, and it has nothing to do with shit, bro. You could just get the fuck away from the people, because whether you're right or you're wrong, you have power to get away from it. You have power to go to a different job. You have power to put them people in their place if you want to. It just depends where you want to put the power into, bro. It really depends on that at the end of the day. And it's just like, he answered the question earlier when he even said like, yeah, I'm blaming myself for just finally figuring it out in my 40s. It was like, I'd rather you be going through that situation with that coworker in your 20s so you can look back at it in your 40s. But again, you can't turn back time, but at least you're trying something now. So he's going through shit that I figured out in my 20s, weirdo coworkers that do some weird shady shit. He's figuring that out in his 40s. We're all on different timelines here, but nonetheless, you're moving throughout the timeline. You understand? I knew some kids who loved singing and dancing since they were kids. I'm a little jealous of them. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I was a little shy for some reason. I really wanted to, but I was really shy. And they've been doing that up to their whole life, man. And I'm starting to really get comfortable in my own skin now in my 30s. I'm getting real comfortable in my skin now. I'm late to that party. I'm real late to that party, man. I wish I was on point like that. I just try to stay, you know what I'm saying, cool or on point all the time. I'm just cool and on point. That shit, it gets you places, but it don't really get you nowhere. But again, grass is greener ain't always green on the other side, man. The people who's having fun, singing and dancing their whole lives, they wish that they was on point and focused and disciplined as I was. And I'm like, listen, man, it's always like that. Whenever you're at a deficit or not doing one thing or the other, man, you always wish you were you know what I'm saying? I say that all the time, man. It's always like that. Grass ain't always greener, man. It is what it is. That's the variety pack, man. That's the first joint right there. Let's get see what we're talking about in the second one, man. Oh, this is kind of interesting. I'll try to read it verbatim as I wrote it. I wrote it fast a couple minutes ago before I hit the record button. So let's see how this goes. All I said was moon phases. Moon phases predate any calendar. Also, the constellations, stars predating our planet, and they always stick together in motion. They always stick together in motion through the universe. So yeah, it's really interesting, man. It's like, I'll try to grab these markers here for an example. You have our planet here. This is the green marker right here. You have the planet. Am I doing this right? You have our planet. This is Earth. Now the moon goes around Earth. It circles around Earth. You understand? The moon circles around Earth. Now let's take into account our sun. This will be our sun now. This is our sun here, right? The sun is right here. Our planet, plus a couple other planets like Earth and stuff, will circulate around that. It will, I don't know what the exact word is. Revolutions is one way to look at it, but it rotates, if you will. It gravitates. There's a certain distance that it stays at and away from. Some of them are a little more oval shaped. You know what I mean? Some are a little more oval shaped. We'll do like this. Some are a little more oval shaped, but that's the sun. And then like our planet that we live on, Earth, there's something that goes around that, but then the planet Earth goes around the sun. Other planets go around our sun in this galaxy. What people don't realize is that you also have, so it's like, think about that. On a small level, the moon goes around the Earth. The Earth goes around the sun, the Earth and all the other planets. Every other planet has their moons as well. What does the sun go around? The sun goes around to my understanding, a larger star, if not just like a greater galaxy or thing at the core, at the middle. It's usually another star. It's usually stars that gravitate around other stars. To my understanding, again, I'm not like a fucking um astronomer, astronomer specifically, but the thing about it that's really interesting is like when you look into the sky, for example. So I'm a Cancer. If you look into the sky, there's a constellation for Cancer. There's a constellation for Sagittarius. Let's go through the whole list, man. There's a constellation for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. Who am I forgetting? Aquarius, Pisces. So that's all 12. And if you want to do sidereal zodiac, we can talk about Ophiuchus too. If you want to count Ophiuchus, that means that Scorpio is only in the sky for a week. That's a whole other conversation there. Let's talk about it though. When you look into the sky, you see this constellation. It's like, wait a minute. Every time I look in the sky, I see this specific constellation. People talk about the Big Dipper and shit like that. You got like, I forget how many stars that is, but you're telling me that those stars in the sky always move in tandem together. That means that those things are moving as a unit. You know what I mean? Let's say like a constellation consists of at least 5 to 6 stars. That means 5 to 6 different galaxies, if you will, are moving in tandem together and they're rotating around something bigger. Our planet just rotates. We're just rotating and we're just spectating it from the sky, but it's around us. Those things are moving in tandem. We're just kind of like a cog in the wheel of multiple wheels and cogs inside of a machine. We're just part of one of the cogs, really. We could fall off and we could be transferred to another one. I don't know how chaotic that'll be. Hopefully we'd be gently brought into a different, cog and wheel area where we rotate. But we're always constantly observing the same things during our rotation. We're seeing this one around this time of the year. This is being recorded, I would say on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn. So like we can observe Sagittarius in the sky on a clear night. We have too much light pollution in the city, but you'll see that shit. And then you look over here and you'll see this shit. My whole thing is like, a lot of times, man, if you were to look at each person in your life, if not the individuals, as like suns, if not like lower forms of a planet, if not a moon, certain people revolve around people in a different way. You got to remember, that's like, hey, man, I might not be able like if you are the sun shining in your galaxy or in your universe, not to be corny, but just being honest here, if you're that person, your sun can only reach people, your sun rays, your light can only reach people in a certain way. It can only reach people that are either the closest to you the best, but you're also heating them up. You're reaching these people that are the closest to you, but the people closest to you, you're heating them up. You're kind of hurting them with your energy because they are the closest. But at the same time, even though you're exuding a level of radiation, they become accustomed and used to you, right or wrong. And within their own rotations, if they decide to go off kilter from who you are and away from your rotation, your gravitational pull, they can start sitting there clotheslining other planets, but with the radiation that you gave them. So you might be charging people in a certain way. Also, those specific planets have their moons. See, the farthest away planets, they talk about Pluto because it's more gas-like, if you will, but people still want to consider that a planet. It's kind of either or for me. I respect it as a planet because I like considering it, but I also don't know if it has a mass that's going to attract moons around it. I haven't looked into that. I'm pretty sure Pluto has moons. I could be wrong, but I know Saturn and shit has like the most moons. Saturn or Jupiter has the most moons. I forget exactly. Probably Neptune. Neptune's big as shit too, though. But a lot of these planets that have moons, like, you can only, a lot of those times the moons will get shaded because the sun that's shining and hitting the planet, the moon's at a bad angle. It's right behind the planet, so you're getting it at a bad angle. But it's catching a glimpse of it. The way our Earth is shaped, it's able to catch the moon at certain like waning and waxing gibbouses. That's a whole nother conversation. But the point I'm saying is like, depending on who you are in your world and universe, you may or may not be the center of attention, if not the sun. You might be the closest planet to that energy source, but hopefully everyone is rotating and working in tandem. You don't want a chaotic set of atoms kind of just rotating and gravitating and pulling in the wrong direction and colliding with each other, creating chaotic corrosions, you know what I'm saying, before things really settle down. It happens sometimes. Some chaotic forces just run into each other. There's a natural flow of things as much as there is an intentional movement. People start talking about meteors and asteroids flying through space in a linear way. That's not to say that that is unnatural. Yeah, it's happening, but who knows what was broken off or what was collided for this to happen. In order for those things to be created, in order for that thing to fly in a linear way, two things that are already on its natural course more or less ran into each other. You understand? They finally met each other. There's certain rotations where they're just kind of like not really colliding yet, and then boom, they finally hit, and certain things start to break off, and then a linear thing creates out of that. Before it really slows down, trajectory rise, and before the god damn it, before the trajectory of that linear object slows down and then finally has less force, slows down and falls into some orbit where it starts to like finally fall into a flow. That takes a while, man. That takes years, like light years and shit. That's a whole nother conversation. But that's kind of more or less how the universe works. But like we are the same way. We are no different than the goddamn universe, man. I say all this to say, like, they say something about like thoughts. You can think about, I can think about a praying mantis right now, and all of a sudden I could be thinking about like a stripper in Atlanta that like posted a video. I could be thinking about the two random things because they could just be on my YouTube algorithm feed. But the fact that I can go from one random thought to another random thought, they're saying that thoughts travel at the speed of light. Thoughts travel at the speed of light. Where are thoughts held? Thoughts are held in our brain. Thoughts are being held in our brain, supposedly. If not, the brain is channeling those thoughts. But where would the satellite be? It's not the man-made satellite because satellites haven't been around longer than this planet, and they haven't been long around. Yeah, like think about that. Satellites haven't been around longer than this planet. They haven't been, the planet has been around probably similar time as the moon, if you will. But all this stuff doesn't come before the sun. The sun is like way before that. So all this, there's a lot of things that existed way before our planet existed, before we existed. Us as organic matters, however you want to look at it, existed and things like that. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's like, what is that? So like thoughts travel at the speed of light. The speed of light, if you were to conceptualize the speed of light, it's a long distance. It's a very long distance in the universe. I don't know how, like, if it ain't it's like from here to, like, I don't know if it's like a galaxy over or some shit, but it's a far distance. All that far distance of like a galaxy cannot fit in one's brain, but somehow thoughts travel at the speed of light. So what are we tapping into? We are tapped into the universe whether we like it or not. So the way that some of this shit rotates, the way that shit gravitates towards certain things, the way that certain things are bound and meant to collide based off of other things. Something that's colliding and coming in this direction has nothing to do with you, but it's going to come in this direction anyway. You have to think about that. An incident that happened maybe galaxies away, where certain things that were in tandem just happened to collide, right or wrong, and then created a chaotic situation that created this giant meteor asteroid thing that just flew out in a linear direction away and at a force where it can't gravitate and get pulled into some gravitational area unless it's a dark hole. Something that went just out this way is coming to this direction. It's bound to come in this direction at some point. It's a weird mathematical, geometric, whatever, you know what I'm saying, kind of equation thing that just happens. Because the thing about it is, like, we do all these equations on the paper and the whiteboard, and that shit is like 2D, but all this shit is happening like 3, 4D type shit up in space. But we're on the same type of time right now. Some people want to just align themselves not with natural rotations and gravitational pulls, but rather the actual chaos of the universe, and that's fine. They are meant to collide with us, and it's up to us if we can withstand it, or what are we willing to sacrifice in the long run to continue our rotation. What are we willing to sacrifice? What direction are we willing to rotate our planet to be like, hey man, it's going to skid this side. Oh man, we're going to let it skid the middle between that large gap in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I'd rather like time it where it hits that water area rather than the human being race or whatever. Like, you can't really control these things, but you can at the same time. Very strange. Very strange thing. But it's like, again, this is just the conversations that I think about sometimes. I'm like, hopefully what I'm trying to say makes sense. Like, again, I'm not well versed. Like, I don't have the vernacular to really explain this, but I have the idea and the concepts of like this shit. Like, I don't know, man. Like, people, like, there's, again, I already know there's gonna be some autistic people that are hearing this shit and they want to hear things very specific. Fuck you guys. I don't care about that bullshit. Like, I'm just like, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. You understand? With the limited knowledge and my limited vernacular, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. Because in relation to the universe here, it's like, and then, no, I'm only saying that shit because I know some of you guys, like, I have a handful of autistic friends, and I know some of y'all be tripping like, you mean this, you mean that. I was like, I don't know the fucking specifics, bro. I don't have the vernacular for it, but you get what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing too, man. It's I guess another thing I probably should have wrote, but it's kind of a side note. I said this shit years ago to my friends. I was like, the biggest thing where people always beef and they argue and where politics goes wrong is that it's communication before clarification. Like, I don't always have to catch your drift, but I just want to know I understand the gist of what you're saying Because it's like a lot of people will start beefing and arguing based off of vernacular. They'll be like, oh, you're saying this, oh, so you mean that. You're saying this, so you mean that. I was like, no, I'm saying what I said. I don't really know how else to say it. I'm just saying what I said. But people want to constantly translate what's already being said. Where you're literally speaking the same language, but it's like you want to constantly translate what's already being said. That shit don't make sense. But it happens. People do that shit. People want to that's the thing, is like people who want the clarification before the communication, those people are trying to control the conversation and the narrative. They want their vernacular to rule the conversation. They want their wording to rule the conversation, which isn't wrong, not all the time, but it's something to be mindful about. It's something to be very mindful about. So communication before clarification, if that makes sense. Because I realized I said something negative, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Some people are probably gonna interpret that in the wrong way too, because they forget that they know I'm referencing some of my friends that are probably watching this fucking video. I'm talking about you guys. You know what the fuck I'm saying? Like, I don't have the specifics. I don't have the correct vernacular, but you get what I'm trying to say. So as long as you get what I'm trying to say, and I just want everyone to be on the same. We don't always have to necessarily be on the same rotation. We don't even have to be on the same planet. We could all just be moons rotating around different planets at different distances. Some people, like, I have friends that really don't like the sun. They don't like being around in the sun. I know people who are like, I would trade places with you. I would live where there's overcast outside. You could have this warmth and this heat. I was like, give me the warmth and the heat. Because I've been around this, I need that shit. Because I've been at such a distance, get me closer to the sun. That's where I want to live. The same way I've been talking about this whole time. Like, I've been so caught up around the chaos. I'm kind of on, I'm borderline on the asteroid belt. I've been living on that type of time environment, household, if you will, for the longest. And I'm like, hey, get me closer to some basic, functional rotations here, man. Let me get around some peaceful shit, man. I need some calmness. Cause the thing is, like, I'm the type of person, I'll be real calm in the middle of the storm, man. Not not literally, but like, shit be going down, man. Like, even man, you could find this shit. I forgot the name of this live stream I did. If you go on my channel, just type in Cinco Bain, Seahawks, Anthony Joshua, and the Timberwolves delivered. That's all I wrote, because Thursday, Seahawks beat the Rams, Anthony Joshua beat Jake Paul, and then Timberwolves beat Oklahoma City Thunder and gave them their third loss of the season. I was like, yo, all these guys delivered on Thursday and Friday. So I did a live stream about it. Kind of talked about it a little bit, but as soon as I'm talking, it started raining like crazy. I'm hearing gunshots in the background. Like, I know these ain't gunshots. I don't know what I'm hearing. I start hearing doo doo doo, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing, like, I'm hearing this shit. I'm like, nah, that's got to be like the wind blowing some shit. I don't fucking know. It's got to be some bullshit. All these fucking cop cars all over the place. I'm like, I'm on the live stream talking to my guy Z, man, and he's like, stay safe out there, bro. I was like, I'm about to start walking home right now. Fuck this shit. I'm about to start walking home. I was like, listen, I'm gonna stay on live stream, because if the cops pull up and try to ask me about some bullshit, you're my alibi. I'm live streaming right now. If they arrest me, I'm gonna have to shut this down. I'm like, you seen it live. I was just minding my fucking business, smoking my cigar. I smoked in the dugout. I smoked on the fucking bleachers. That's it. But it'd be like that. I'd be around the fucking chaotic shit. And sometimes I'd be chilling out there just cooling. And I'm like, you know what, man, this ain't time for that, man. I'm over here preaching peace and having some calmness in my life. Let me get away from the chaos for once. So I started walking home, man. I started exercising some peace in my life. Went home. I did some Japanese Duolingo, because I'm trying to go to Japan for that peaceful. Catch me up in the ooh, bro, I don't even know where I'm trying to go. I'm gonna be living out in Osaka or the peaceful mountains of Hokkaido by the river type shit. I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to live something like that, bro. What we doing? We doing something. That's that note, man. Let me get into the next one before I start losing my mind. 12:45, about that time. All right, here we go. Oh, here it is, man. Like I said, variety pack. We all over the place with this one. Being honest about insecurities and understanding habits. Real simple, man. Being honest about insecurities and understanding habits, man. I got a lot of insecurities. I got a lot of habits. I think a lot of people do, whether they recognize them or not. I think a lot of people do, whether they recognize them or not. I'm insecure about a lot of shit. And here's the thing about me, man. I actually put some work in to make sure that I'm secure about it. I've never really been insecure about height, because since I was 12 years old, they made me fight adults. When I was 12 years old at the gym, they're like, you want to come to the adult class and spar with the team? I said, spar with the team? I was like, yeah, it's a bunch of adults that are trying to be amateur boxers. So I've been fighting adults since forever. When I was a little kid, adults used to piss me off. I tried to fight back and I get my ass whooped. I try to fight back with my older brother and my cousins. I get my ass whooped. I didn't care. I was like, I'm tired of getting fucked with. Keep fucking with me. I almost said, "Can you fuck with me? I'm gonna fuck back." Pause. Oh, yo, hey, yo, pause. I was about to say that low key. Hey, see what I'm saying? That's why you gotta catch that shit. That's why you gotta pause everything, because the English language be sus sometimes. That shit funny as hell. Check this out, man. I'm over here. How's it going? Oh, I didn't know if they're waving over here. So I'm over here like they're going in the room. I think they're just taking a walk. I think they're just taking a walk. Um, Insecurities and habits. My bad. I lost my train of thought. I'll be fighting back since forever. So I've never been insecure about the height, but I will say on a very small, simple, minute level, very small, simple, minute level, you get insecure about, okay, have I achieved certain things in my life? Do I have enough money? Is my wage my actual worth? You know what I mean? Like all these, I don't want to get too like, I don't want to say esoteric, but you know what I mean? Like too deep into it. But a lot of these things cross people's minds. Are you handsome enough? Does this person really like you? Are you actually loved? You know what I mean? These are things that cross people's minds that I think are very small that a lot of people can't really admit. A lot of people question sometimes, like, is this friend saying certain things to get in my head? Is this friend over here insinuating a level of negativity that they're pouring into? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give an example. So I thought about this earlier. This is one of the things that kind of stopped me in my tracks for a little bit, and I had to catch myself. Not to be funny, but just being real here. The thing I thought about was a friend of mine. This dude was saying something very negative to me, but I was like, I didn't understand where he was coming from with it. And I understand he's trying to be like funny or whatever. And like part of me is like, I don't know, it almost felt like he was throwing a shot at me. The thing was I didn't call it out. You know what I mean? Because I was like, maybe I'm like hearing it the wrong way, but also I don't want to come across as insecure. There's nothing wrong with being again, there's nothing wrong with being insecure in front of friends that you trust. So it was tricky because I was like, is he secretly throwing shots at me? And if he is, I don't know if that's no longer my friend. And that's why the thought crossed my mind. So I thought about it. I was like, is he just on some weird, funny shit? I don't know. I don't know. So I really started to really like, again, when you start going down rabbit holes of negativity, they don't really help you. They're not good for you for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons, they're not good for you. I started thinking like, damn, is he talking too much to slightly mutual friends that have an opinion about me, but without me? I think about that sometimes. I think people struggle with that. You hate when people talk about you without you. Because every time you see me, I do my best to let people know, like, hey, man, we just got done talking about you. Speak of the devil, we just got done talking about you. That's crazy. You know, shout out to my guy, Melon. We always talk about how he has a crazy eating habit, and somehow he just goes through his day like it's nothing. I was like, bro, I don't know how he does it. And then as soon as we got done talking about how much candy and stuff he eats, this dude walks through the door, and we're like, bro, we just, speak of the devil, we just got done talking about you. It's my guy. You know what I mean? And I do my best to do that because it's like I don't want to. I hate being the type of person that talks behind people's back. That's just me. That's just me. But again, these are small insecurities. Right? I'm using this as an example for myself, where I'm like, I don't know if someone was saying something in insinuation towards me, and then here I am, insecure about it, thinking negatively about it, thinking maybe that he was talking to other friends who actually don't like me, mutual friends who may not like me, or I can't even say mutual friends. Well, it's just mutual people we know, because I don't really consider these other people friends. I don't really talk to them like that. He's bouncing ideas about me towards them, and then getting fed back some negative shit. You know what I mean? Some critical shit. And I was like, I don't even talk to them people over there. Realistically, I really don't. So it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. Like again, this is an insecurity that came across my mind, and here I am as someone where I'm like, and I actually might exercise this next time I talk to him. I might exercise this next time I talk to him. Because the thing is, if he's truly a friend, I should be able to speak about my insecurities without it being used against me or thrown back into my face. But those things happen. Those things happen. Now, I'm not trying to say everyone should do that. I think when you actually find the inner strength, the thing is, I have no confidence ever. I don't want to say I don't have confidence. That's not true. I don't lead with confidence. I lead with recklessness. I'm like, man, you know what? I feel like this needs to happen. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't got time to be thinking about the ins and outs of what makes it. Because the thing is, where I draw confidence from is like I knew something has happened before. There's a road paved for it. Why not do it? Stocks exist. You can make dividends. Why not do it? I'm confident about that. Sure. But I'm real reckless with the way I invest. You understand? Like I just go for it. I can't expect everyone to be on that same type of time and wavelength. That's just me. That's just who I am. So anyway, I say all this to say, like, you're around people. Some people understand your habits. Some people start picking at your habits, playing with your insecurities. Once you can identify that shit, man, hold on, let me check the note I wrote. Being honest about insecurities and understanding habits. This is where we stop at being honest about our insecurities because someone played with us. It could even begin with a parent. There's certain parents that play with our insecurities and our habits, and they joke with us about it. Sometimes in relationships, people joke with our insecurities and habits. One crazy thing I heard, I don't want to say relationship gurus, but like people who help out with shit. Dante Nero. Shout out to Dante Nero. I'm looking at the time on the phone, but shout out to Dante Nero, Man School 202. He was bringing up something. He was like, you know what ends up happening is he was talking about because Akash is like a comedian, so he's like, because he's so comedic, you know, he probably deals with his wife in a very comedic way, you know, endearing but also like clowning on her. And for whatever reason, because you know, when you talk that way behind closed doors, sometimes women will test you and they'll talk that same way you guys talk behind closed doors and make it public. So she's not a comedian, but she tried to be funny in her own way, in a public way, and it was very demeaning and almost disrespectful. That's one thing I thought about, man, how you deal with people and friends behind closed doors, whether they feel challenged by it or not, or they feel insecure about it or not, or they feel like their habits are being picked upon or not. They will damn near try to challenge you in a weird, I don't want to say female way necessarily, but just a simple, insecure, and fun playing way sometimes. You know what I mean? Because that's the feminine energy, if you will. That's just a feminine energy aspect. They'll attack it and they'll play with that in a certain way. And they'll make it out loud. But you got to be careful. Like even parents, man, when you guys are talking to your kids, sometimes your kids are just being a little cute and innocent, and you don't want to play with their insecurities. You know, you don't want to cultivate and nurture it and baby them, but you don't want to play with insecurities to the point where they start growing up feeling insecure about opening up and being honest about what makes them hurt. Because sometimes, yeah, it is cute when they talk about what makes them hurt, but you got to just talk to people like normal people. I can't wait to have kids, man. I'm gonna be talking to them like normal people, man. If I got daughters, I'm gonna have to sock them in the chest. I'm gonna have some daughters sock them in the chest. He's like, listen, man, the world ain't gonna be easy. Blah. You better get tough around here, man. I'm telling you, man, it's not that. It's gonna be a little tough for women. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a little tough for women moving forward, man. It's already tough for dudes, but you know, I'm on point. Like I make sure I keep young men and men in check. Like, hey man, we gotta be on point, man. We gotta be better, man. Why are we doing this goofy ass shit? Fuck the dumb shit. I'm one of those, man. Hey, bro, we got the ones on Georgetown's. There it is, man. I'll leave it at that, man. That's a variety pack 2.0. I'm over here looking down because I saw the reflection in the phone. Got the tongue all out, bro. Or the tongue, boom, buried up in there. Pop that joint out. There it is, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace. I'm out.